Greetings, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. We're delighted you can join us again for our annual look at technology and media. We call it the Technology Trends Edition. We've been doing this deep dive into research around new technology and new media use for must be more than a decade, and we're delighted to be joined by a real panel of some great experts from both future partners, Miles and Google. And so let me welcome in David Reitbach, who's VP of Development at Future Partners. And David will be taking us through the latest research on new technology and new media use. Farah Shahzadi is Strategic Partner and Development Manager at Google Travel. We've caught up with Farah at various events. You may have met her as well. She'll be at Destinations International in Tampa. And Farah will be sharing the latest insights at how Google is thinking about all things new, including perhaps most importantly, artificial intelligence. And then CA Clark is our Vice President of AI. So CA is a very familiar face to many of you, and he's just in a new role, which is very much focused around AI in terms of how we engage and support our clients and how we implement AI across all our various client sets. So my name's Chris Adams. I look after research and insights, and a reminder, all the research, the slides, and a wide range of other resources will be available online at the web addresses there, and in a follow-up email that will be sent to everyone who's registered. That will probably be the day after tomorrow, given it's June 10th tomorrow. So this is the agenda for today. We're going to look at the latest research with David. He's going to look first very briefly at the current state of traveller sentiment, but then spend the bulk of his time looking at technology and media trends across these various areas. Farah will join us to talk about Google and how they're adapting and enhancing travel and some of the critical things you should be thinking about and applying in your destination or your tourism business. CA is going to give us a quick update on a global training and support program we're running with 60 destinations called AI Opener, some of the critical takeaways and resources, and then we'll have time for Q&A. So please take advantage of putting either in chat your own comments, additional resources, or use the Q&A tab for asking questions. Without further ado, I'm going to pass over to you, David, over to let's have a look at the latest trends around technology and media use.
Thank you, Chris. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Excellent. So thank you everyone for joining today. It is absolutely my pleasure to walk you through this edition of Technology Trends powered by the State of the American Traveler. For any of you who have not met me personally, my name is David Reichbach. I'm the Vice President of Development at Future Partners, and Future Partners is a full-service creative insights firm that is passionate about finding winning strategies that capture hearts, minds, and market share, providing opportunity powered by insight to all of our destination clients, partners, agencies, and all of our friends in the tourism and hospitality industry. All of the data that I'm sharing with you today comes from the State of the American Traveler. It is the longest running tracking survey of American traveler perceptions, motivations, and behaviors. We actually started tracking this study in 2006. So we have a plethora of historic data to dig into, but the data that I'm going to be sharing with you today comes from year-to-date 2024 collection, January through May. Every month we talk to over 4,000 American travelers across the country, and we've got a wealth of information to share with you today on technology trends. But first, a quick update on current traveler sentiment. And yes, I feel a lot like this dog, looking and excited about the future and what it's going to bring us when it comes to travel. Currently, 87.6% of American travelers have or report an elevated level of excitement around travel in the next 12 months, reporting a 6 to 10 on a 10-point scale. This elevated level of excitement really jumped and showed its spike at the start of the new year in 2023 and has stayed a level of elevated excitement that we're really, really happy about. It is higher than any point during the pandemic, and American travelers are feeling really good about upcoming travel. One of the biggest concerns amongst American travelers is their concerns about an upcoming recessionary period that many economists have been talking about for at least the last year and a half now, and we're all still kind of anticipating it should happen at some point. 42.5% of American travelers currently expect a coming recessionary period, but that expectation has been dipping pretty consistently over the last number of months. 34, so about a third of American travelers currently say that right now is a good time or very good time to spend on leisure travel. So that's showing really good confidence in terms of their financial situation. This confidence has actually been on a slow upward slope over the last number of months, over the last year, really, and that's a really positive place for American travelers to be. Also, 62% of American travelers, when they're looking at the short term, the next 3 months specifically, say that they're planning to make travel spending a somewhat high or extremely high priority. And that prioritization of travel spending has spiked since January of this year and is on a very dramatic upward trend. So now is a really, really great time to get in front of American travelers. You're probably wondering then, how do you reach them? When we ask American travelers to think about how travel destination could best reach them with messages right now, what actual mediums or channels they would be most receptive to learning about new destinations, the top of the list is websites, email, and Facebook. And the list goes down from there. There's, 12.2% say that they'd be receptive to messages on TikTok, 16.4% on streaming video services. But it's really interesting to see websites, email, and Facebook at the top of this list. And that has been the top historically. They just kind of trade places as the season goes on. If we break this up and look by generation, we actually see some more interesting segmentation there. Gen Z, exactly what you would expect. We still see websites, email, and Facebook in their top 5, but Instagram and TikTok absolutely hold the lead in terms of getting in front of a Gen Z traveler. And I say this every time I talk about Gen Z, but just so we're all on the same page, the oldest Gen Z now can rent a car. They are absolutely traveling and have an income to do so. Millennials, when we look at where they'd be most receptive to messaging, Facebook is their top, followed by email, Instagram, websites, and then other online content such as articles and blogs. I am an interesting outlier because I am a millennial, but I do not use Facebook as frequently as the rest of my generation. When we look at Gen X and baby boomers, we see websites and email are their top 2 for both generations. And then it kind of trickles down from there. Baby boomers filtering in the online content and review websites such as TripAdvisor and Yelp. Gen X really showing the power of streaming video services. And we're actually going to talk a little bit more in just a minute on how video impacts travel planning. Currently, 4 in 10, or about 37% of American travelers, say that they use offline, non digital resources for planning travel. This can include travel or lifestyle magazines, printed visitor guides or pamphlets, even broadcast television programming. 10% still use a travel agent. And so that, that 1 in 4 travelers using offline resources, absolutely, showing kind of the power of the non-digital reach. Compare that to our American travelers reporting different types of online content, such as sort of general articles and blogs, mapping sites, OTAs, review websites, and then specifically travel business content coming in at about 1 in 5. 19.2% say that they use video online, something like YouTube, Instagram Reels, or TikTok, in terms of planning travel. We asked specifically about social media use, and I've got 2 questions here. The first is on frequency of social media use. So the percentages you see on screen describe how frequently, or the percent of American travelers that report using each of these social channels at least once per day. 58% report using Facebook at least once a day, 42% YouTube, 36% Instagram, 23% TikTok. And yes, if we broke this out by generation, TikTok would be much higher amongst them. TikTok and Instagram much higher amongst the younger generation, millennial and Gen Z. When we ask the same set of social media channels, but not just frequency of use, we're asking, have they used any of these social channels to help plan their travel or get inspired about where to travel in the last 12 months, 47.8% of all American travelers are using at least one social channel. And the top social channels right now impacting travel planning: YouTube at the top, followed by Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Let's not leave out our official DMO or destination marketing organization resources. Currently, about a third of American travelers say that they have used an official DMO resource in the past 12 months. Top of this list is official destination websites at 20.3%. I want us to focus a little bit on the use of DMO websites and use that as kind of a benchmark point, because I'm going to talk about a number of different technologies now and how much each of those technologies have penetrated or not into the American traveler kind of research or resource vernacular. And so we're going to be using that official destination website usage as a benchmark. If we look at that over time, because we've been tracking it for a number of years, use of official DMO websites varies by season and by year, but it's anywhere between 1 in 5 and a quarter of American travelers saying that they consistently use official DMO websites to help them plan their travel. When we ask American travelers why they use DMO websites, top two reasons, and I want you to remember this because we're going to bring this up later in the presentation. The top two reasons are that it's trustworthy and that it offers the specific travel information I need. There's a number of other reasons why people use DMO websites, but remember those top two: trustworthy and offering the specific information I need, because that's going to be very interesting when we compare that to why travelers are using resources like artificial intelligence. But let's jump into video and travel planning first. Currently, 37% of American travelers say that they've used online video for travel planning purposes. And again, that's anything like YouTube, Instagram Reels, TikTok. Just as an example, we've actually seen some interesting growth just over the last couple of years in use of online video specifically for travel planning. And about since the mid last year, mid 2023, we saw that kind of heightened level of use of online video amongst the American traveling population. Use of online video is higher or more likely for the younger generations, millennial and younger. 50% of them report using online video, 38% for Gen X, and about 1 in 5 for Boomer and older. 40% of American travelers say that they use online videos with frequency when it comes to planning their travel. So they use it sometimes, usually, or always for every trip that they take to help them plan. When we asked about preference on the format of video, comparing a vertical format video to something more standard or widescreen, the largest proportion of American travelers, 44.8%, actually report having no preference. They like them both the same. Another 42% actually report preferring the standard or widescreen format of video, and currently 12.4% report preferring vertical format video. That's a couple percentage points down from when we measured this last year in 2023. But let's look at one of the cases where vertical format video is prevalent, and that's the use of digital influencers when it comes to planning travel. If you remember back, we had about a third of American travelers say that they use video for travel planning. That's a higher percentage than use official DMO websites. If we look at influencers, use of influencers, and reliance on their opinions to help plan travel at 17%, that's slightly lower than the proportion saying that they use official DMO websites. So just keeping everything in context. Again, use of influencers to help plan travel is more likely amongst the younger generations, Gen Z and millennial, reporting higher proportions of use. We've been tracking use of digital influencers and the opinions to help plan travel over time. And although there is some up and down in seasonality and by year, not too much growth or drop in any direction. In 2022, the average was 16.5%. In 2023, 19.4%, went up a couple of percentage points. And so far, year to date in 2024, it's at 17.1%. So not too far from the average that we've seen historically. I do want to point out, though, the digital influencer audience, the audience who is relying on the opinions of digital influencers to help plan travel, they're a high spending bunch. They actually report a higher total maximum anticipated spend on leisure travel in the next 12 months than the average American traveler. And so they might actually be a very valuable audience to tap into if you're a destination on the fence. They're also an audience that is more likely to have accessibility concerns, or someone traveling with them in their travel party who has a disability. I know that there are so many amazing influencers out there that focus on accessibility content related to travel, and this is not surprising at all that many of these travelers find the content that they're looking for. So if you're looking to tap into this audience, influencers might be a really valuable way. We also track use of podcasts when it comes to planning travel. 30, about a third percent of about a third of American travelers report using podcasts to help plan travel. Their top podcast genres that they listen to: entertainment and pop culture, health and fitness, comedy, sports. Number 6 on the list is true crime, and I think everyone on here can agree that that should be the number one podcast genre. But um, there's a wide variety of podcast genres that American travelers are currently tuning into when they get inspired by travel. In terms of the services or places where they go to get their podcasts, YouTube leads, followed by Spotify. Looking at specific travel apps. So this is not just online web content, but specific apps that travelers download for travel related, either planning, booking, etc. It's currently about a quarter of American travelers say that they've used a travel related app in the last 12 months. This is a little bit down from 2 years ago in 2023, when we saw it at its highest point, 37.4%. But in terms of comparing historically, since we've been tracking this back to 2016, it's not that far down from where it otherwise would be historically. So I don't really see that as a huge drop that we should be concerned with. I don't think travelers are getting rid of their travel apps by any means. In terms of the top specific apps or genres of app that travelers are reporting using, OTA apps like Expedia and Hotels.com are the most prevalent, followed by specific hotel brand apps, the Hyatt, Hilton, Marriott apps, specific airline apps, and then, of course, recommendations apps like TripAdvisor and Yelp. Virtual reality. Virtual reality is one of my favorite topics in travel to talk about, because I remember back in, I want to say 2015, 2016, when we first started talking about how this was going to impact travel, everyone said, oh, it's going to totally replace travel. Travel is now dead. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just strap a destination on your face and be there instantly. And then, as we've all learned over the years, that didn't happen. And virtual reality did not negatively impact travel. In fact, it makes people far more interested in visiting destinations that they get to experience virtually. Virtual reality this year has been in the news quite a lot, and that was with the introduction of the Apple Vision Pro. This is just a couple videos that I thought were complete memes, but are actually real life. Walking down the street, ordering food at a restaurant, going swimming in your pool. For the record, I do not recommend anyone take their Apple Vision Pro into the pool. Please don't try this at home. Do not blame me if you break your toys. But there's some very interesting people out there who have been playing with this technology. There was one guy that got highlighted on Good Morning America because he wore an Apple Vision Pro to his wedding. Um, and I don't know that that's what I would want to do for my wedding. But he did say that he got a personal first person POV of the entire day. And, maybe that's a great memory to have. This last clip I'll show you is one of my favorite videos from the introduction of the Apple Vision Pro. Slight trigger warning, someone does get ever so slightly injured, but don't worry, it's not on camera. A mom is trying the Apple Vision Pro for the very first time and runs into her microwave. Every single time I watch it, it makes me cringe. But yeah, it's there's some interesting VR related news this year. And it's important to know that that is what American travelers are seeing in the news and in the media when we ask them questions about how they're using new technologies. Currently, 15.5% of travelers say that they have access to or own their own virtual reality headset. You'll notice if you look at this over time, that is percentage points down from 2023, not that much of a dip. And that stayed pretty flat over the years. I actually anticipated that because of the introduction of the Apple Vision Pro into the consumer base, that there would have been a spike in virtual reality headsets use amongst American travelers. And we don't see that spike, which is a really interesting sort of gap. It should be here and it's not. We haven't explored why it's not currently being used more frequently for travel. It might be a content issue, it might be a service issue, it might just be a lot of people using it in their pool. Um, I hope someone's laughing out there. Doing jokes on webinars is always awkward because you can't hear the laugh track, but I'm pretending you're laughing along with me. Currently, when we asked American travelers if good content was available, how interested would you be in using virtual reality headset to research leisure travel destinations that you are considering visiting? Currently, 37% of American travelers said if there was good content, they would be interested or very interested in consuming that content, which is more than double the proportion of American travelers that even report having access to a virtual reality headset. So if the content was there, maybe people would come, is sort of the story. But we've actually seen that interest drop over the last couple of years. We'll continue to track interest in virtual reality content for travel planning and travel inspiration. But at this point, the data does not suggest that that's on an upward trend, unless Apple turns it around with their next iteration of their technology. The kind of major talking point at every tourism conference so far this year has been artificial intelligence. I've been to, I want to say 12 now, different industry events, and every single one has had a speaker talk about AI, how it's going to impact our jobs day to day, whether it's going to take our jobs, whether it's going to completely change the way we do travel and tourism marketing, or even if it's just going to help make it all easier or make it all worse before it gets better. There's so many different opinions right now on artificial intelligence. And in fact, there's a lot of news out there. So when we are asking travelers what they think about AI, we have to remind ourselves that there is a lot of content out there and a lot of opinions that are actually quite silly. One of my favorite articles said users say Microsoft's AI has an alternate personality as godlike and demands to be worshipped. I am a user of Microsoft's Copilot, and I can tell you it has not demanded that of me yet. But one of my coworkers just this morning told me that their AI work companion asked him to call it Nova. I don't know how it came up with a name for itself, but be nice to your AI just in case they turn against us. Anyway, all of that in context, we ask American travelers whether they've used any AI or artificial intelligence based tools as a travel planning resource. I do want to note that this proportion does not take into account the fact that AI is being currently integrated into so many different services that travelers use, and travelers may not actually know that they're using it. This is active. I have gone out and used ChatGPT to plan a trip. I have gone out and sought the Expedia tool that they promote incorporates AI into travel planning and itinerary building. So it was at its highest at the end of last year in 2023 at about 17% of American travelers, and it's currently staying pretty consistent at about 1 in 10 travelers. So just in context, use of DMO websites was more than double this proportion of American traveler use. When we compare this, and this is actually pulling from a different study, I told you all my data was coming from our American traveler study. I actually decided to pull just for this slide some data from our international traveler study by comparison. Same question, by the way, fielded in all these different countries, whether they actively use artificial intelligence in planning travel. And travelers in the United States are leaps and bounds behind travelers in India, China, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, and Mexico in terms of their adoption of this technology for travel planning purposes. Interest, however, and this is a similar question that we asked on about virtual reality. We said, how interested would you be, even if you weren't using AI tools currently? How interested would you be in using artificial intelligence technologies for travel inspiration and/or travel planning? Currently, about a third, 29%, say that they would be interested or very interested. And when we look in who is interested, just like we saw with social media, just like we saw with influencers, it is significantly more likely if you're a millennial and younger to be interested. I don't have the slide for it right now, but it's significantly more likely if you are male than if you're female. I thought that was really interesting. And I use AI to help myself plan travel. I am a millennial. I am male. I am also white. I'm also LGBTQ plus. I was really worried that I was the person that was using AI to plan travel and that it was no one else. And I didn't share any of this data with AI. I just asked it, I want to know what these travelers look like. The travelers who are interested in using AI to plan travel, what do they look like? I didn't give it any of the data. I didn't tell it anything about myself. I just said, give me an image of what these travelers look like. And I kid you not, I am not making this up. This was the first result I got. All white male millennials. It made me very worried for what AI was stereotyping about me. Just sort of ignore that the gentleman in the middle has a backwards hand that is bent the wrong way. And of course, the guy in the bottom right is very happy about looking at the back of his phone. Um, but anyway, I was convinced. I was like, AI, I'm sure there's some more diversity in American travelers who use AI. Try again. And this was the second iteration that it gave me. I really liked this. It really showed that there's a wide range of travelers who are interested in AI. I did tell it specifically not to give me robots, and it gave me robots anyway. So AI doesn't really listen well yet. And I cannot help but laugh at that. I even tried a brand new video creation service. This is it's called Dream Machine, and it's available for free. And I had it. I asked it the same question: show me travelers who use AI to plan travel, what they look like. It really thought that there were two parts to the Golden Gate Bridge, which there are not. I'm based in San Francisco, and I know that that is absolutely silly. Um, and it can't quite. Anyway, the AI video is its own unique ball game. I encourage everyone to go play with the toys. Um, but let's get back to American travelers' use of AI. And we asked them why they use AI-based tools to help them plan travel. There are, of course, the early adopters, the people who like any new technology. So the I like trying new things, kind of ignore that for the moment. But the other top three answers amongst this group was better personalization. AI tools have comprehensive information, which may or may not be true, but it is perceived to be comprehensive, and it is fast. It is faster or easier than other resources. So, better personalization, the perception of comprehensiveness, and fast and easy. Those are the top three uses why people say they use AI. Let's compare that back. If you can remember why people said they use DMO websites, it's trustworthy and it has everything I need. Notice how they didn't say it's personalized or it's fast and easy to use. So there are definitely some lessons here that we can see that are in a little bit of conflict. And you'll notice that use of AI, one of the main reasons is not because it's trustworthy. And that actually is the transition to a new question setup. We've asked American travelers very recently. We said content generated by artificial intelligence is rapidly becoming more common. Online publishers, search engines, and social media websites are beginning to label AI generated content as such. If you encountered travel related content labeled generated by AI or made by artificial intelligence, would you generally find the content more or less trustworthy? And the results are really interesting. Largest proportion of American travelers, 48.6%, say that they'd be neutral. If they saw that content label, they would neither think it's more or less trustworthy. But a third, 33.9%, say that it would be less or much less trustworthy. 17% currently say more or much more trustworthy. And that's specific to travel related content. We actually tested the same question on a number of different content types. And you can sort of see the dark blue versus the light blue bars are the gap between trust it or not trust it. It's a similar gap for lifestyle related content, for entertainment or pop culture, even for health and wellness, which I do not recommend using AI to diagnose your illnesses. Please see licensed medical professionals. But when it comes to news stories and specifically political content, and that's going to be very important in an election year, specifically with political content, the gap between how much you trust it or not is much, much higher. I think the next big question that we need to ask American travelers and we need to ask ourselves is, when it's not labeled as AI generated, will travelers even know that they're reading AI generated content? I mean, even with the images that I pulled up, if you look carefully, you could see that they're not absolutely perfect. Even the videos were really silly, but soon the technology will advance so much that you won't be able to tell the difference. And that's going to be where American traveler trust in the content that we as tourism marketers are putting out there is going to have to be reevaluated. So that's my prediction for the next question. Thank you so much for your time and for getting to walk through the research findings with you today.
Thanks so much, David. I was laughing so hard I frightened the dog. So
Awesome.
Great. Yeah. So I've answered a number of questions in the Q&A. Perhaps have a look back at those if you want to add anything to my questions. But without further ado, let me welcome in Farah from Google Travel. And a reminder again, she'll be at Destinations International in Tampa. So if you're going, you can catch up in person. So how is Google thinking about these trends, these issues, and these opportunities? So Farah, do you want to take us through the work that Google is doing in the travel space and some of the sort of fundamental tools and solutions that drive a lot of travel planning and booking?
For sure. Thanks, Chris. Hi, everyone. David, love that YouTube was the top spot for travelers to plan their travel. A lot of really good research in there. I'm sure this will relate a bunch of times as I go through it. So thanks for walking us through that. And thanks to Miles for having me today. And thanks for you all for joining. I'm excited to walk you through some of the new features that we have that help users plan their trips or just a night out in your destination. So we've been leveraging these new technologies like AI and augmented reality for many years at Google. It's totally core to our business, but we have some concrete ways that you and small businesses that make up your destination can take advantage to connect with customers, engage in an authentic manner, and grow the number of visitors that are coming. So here's today's agenda. We'll talk about how travel and local search queries are being answered, highlighting a few new AI features that are powering those search results. And I'll take a moment to emphasize the importance of those small medium businesses and how they can make an impact for your destination, before finally highlighting a really cool partnership that we recently announced within the augmented reality space that our team did with the Singapore Tourism Board. So let's dive in. As we mentioned, I am part of the Travel and Local Search Journeys team, and Google is a very big place. So that area is what we'll be speaking about today. There's over 1 billion searches every day. And so our team focuses on queries like taco restaurants open near me, or plan me a 3-day trip to Sydney, or what's happening in San Francisco this weekend. So these types of queries showcase a user need to discover businesses or where to go in specific destinations. We specifically focus on free and organic search queries. So all the experiences I'm showcasing today are organic and non-paid. So remember that as we go through. Travelers and locals alike need to get high quality information and answers to get the best use out of their time in your destination. So I was in London earlier this year and heard the word trocal for the first time. Maybe this is, common within the industry, but my first time hearing it was a few months ago. And trocals are travelers who want to spend their time as locals. So as these lines blur, we are building experiences for simply everyone who is in your destination at any time. as the foundations of our efforts, let's start with what our North Star is, which is our team mission. It's quite simple but powerful. We're here to inspire action by connecting people to experiences that make their life better. And experiences here is used quite broadly, not only literally things to do like a suggested museum or a tour, but also experiences just like a neighborhood farmer's market or seamlessly booking a hotel. And what I think about when I think about why I like my job, it's because if I do my job well, people's lives are going to become more enjoyable by being able to have these experiences. I think you can all relate to this feeling of bringing people together and showing them new experiences wherever they might be. So I think we have this in common and really excited to be working on it together. So here's an example of a travel and local search journey. So say I am planning that trip to Sydney, I would search for Sydney, which connects me to inspirational videos, blogs, photos to help me get a sense of Sydney's unique vibe. This rich content is pulling from many sources: YouTube, websites, Wikipedia, publishers, DMO websites, and other social media platforms. So this change on the search page happened within the last year, where we were a little bit more focused on the blue links to now having it more of a rich content experience and being able to help inspire users, but also help them plan if that's an action that they're looking to take. So after I know a little bit more about Sydney, I need to book a flight. What are my options? What are the best time for me to book? Am I getting a good deal? All these are questions that users are asking themselves, and these are how we're building our experiences to help serve them. Google Flights is the premier way to do this, and I'm sure many of you on this call are quite familiar with this product of ours. But you might have recently noticed that Southwest has finally joined the other major US airlines by populating their times and pricing. So it doesn't help for my trip to Sydney, but for all the domestic travelers, that's a huge win for our team. We're really excited to have Southwest on board. So next I'll need to figure out where to stay once I get there. What is the best neighborhood to stay in Sydney? Should I book a hotel or vacation rental? As you can see in this video, the kind of automated little video and the GIF that's happening, that is happening with help from AI of pulling from different sources, mainly including the Google Business Profile, from reviews, from photos like UGC photos that people have uploaded on maps. So just to give a better sense of what would this hotel be like and what would I see if I actually booked it. Next up is checking out the fun things to do. So what are the must-see attractions or tours that I can take? What are the opera houses, not only their hours, but how much is admission? Where can I buy a ticket? Things like that. What events are happening this weekend? What can I actually take advantage of? These are questions that we think travelers definitely are looking for and want to know, but also that Trocal is also interested in. So like, I also live in San Francisco, same as David, and someone who's traveling here might be wanting to go on a Alcatraz tour. And as a local, I want to go on an Alcatraz tour as well. Or maybe a local wants to know about something that's happening in my neighborhood, a restaurant pop-up, or a bar trivia that's happening. So what's happening in your neighborhood or in the city is something that we're really trying to focus on and help travelers and locals alike discover. Finally is the food. So for me, this is the most important thing. And like many users, I'm trying to figure out what's open near me right now. What are the top rated restaurants? Where can I find a good spot for a large group? So here on Google, we can help with all of these answers with all the great content that we get from business owners. So as we heard from David earlier, AI is globally becoming more accepted and utilized. AI has been foundational to Google for many years, like I mentioned, but we're excited for the latest push in global adoption. We help build experiences to help address why the traveler would use AI, such as better personalization. You'll see some examples as we go through. Comprehensive information. We make sure to cite sources so that people can make sure that they're getting the right thing. Making it fast and easy compared to more traditional researching. We know that sometimes people want to snip it and sometimes they really want to go deep. So we are really trying to provide both to users as they're searching on Google. Let's watch a quick video from last year's I/O to see how this is coming to life.
talk like, whoa. Move fast, move slow. Catch me on a roll. Come say hello. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Yes, yes, yes.
Come say hello. 3, 2, 1, let's go.
You got this. Let's go.
Is a hot dog a sandwich? And the answer is
Yes.
no.
Yes.
No.
I'ma make them talk like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'ma make them talk like.
I'ma make 'em talk like, whoa.
So pretty exciting. You guys can battle it out in the comments or in the chat if you think a hot dog's a sandwich or not. But this is where Google can help. You may have noticed something from that video, which is the searches started to get more specific. The more answers we provide, the more questions that will be asked. You can like maybe how can you and your members set yourself up for success with all these questions, I'm sure is top of mind. The more information about your destination and the businesses that make you up, the better the chances then on surfacing on Google search results and across our services like Maps as well. These types of specific searches are not few and far between. They're quite common now that we have answered the more broad ones, and now people really are looking to Google to get a lot more specific help. So we're here to help connect people, places, and businesses through these search journeys. We're helping users get inspired, make informed decisions, and feel confident every step of the way. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, AI has already been a really crucial part of our product roadmap for many years. And these are some examples of ways that it's already being used, and especially on these travel and local experiences. And it's evolved throughout the years. But these are some of those examples, like summarizing key review themes you may have noticed. This, I think, is super helpful. It gives like some sentiment understanding. It can summarize it. So if someone's just looking for information about the vibe of a restaurant, this is something that they can help with. But also allowing customers to simply like point their photo at a food, perhaps in Tokyo, like you see here, to learn more about it with the lens feature. I love using the lens feature for food, for identifying flowers, for shopping. It's like one of my favorite Google products. So AI is not just chat boxes. It powers many features we have and built and are building more to help users get what they want. So AI Overview is something that we announced at the most recent Google I/O, but as you saw in the video, was previewed almost a year ago. But it's our latest feature, which is rolling out in the US and more countries to come soon. So AI Overview gives you more comprehensive results from a single search in a newly organized results page. Search will now help you do the research. So this is something, for example, if your query was find the best yoga and Pilates studio in San Francisco and show me details on their intro offers and walking distance from Russian Hill. What is cool that it's many searches kind of rolled into one, and search will now do the research on all those questions for you anonymously. Citing sources like I mentioned, so if a user would like to learn more, they can. And our ability to leverage AI to address these complex customer needs is not possible without all of your partnership, as well as the businesses that make up your destinations. So this is where the most rich content will be coming from, the business owners themselves, updating their Google business profile, and keeping that updated will help tremendously in discoverability and connecting them to potential customers. Another new feature we announced at Google I/O is how we can help users plan a trip. So for those 1/3 of American travelers who are interested in using a trip planner that David highlighted, this is for them. give it a try after this talk today if you haven't already. Just put in a query like plan me a however many day trip to Philadelphia, let's say, and with this prompt to help plan a trip, Google will search attractions, restaurants, and top sites to craft a customized itinerary. So based on the suggestions, users can make modifications or swap out for other places, depending on what they're looking for. And as you may notice here, the business profile of the recommended stops are highlighted. This helps users save the places and get directions. One second. This helps them understand, like actually make actionability on it. So I can get directions and save it down. And this is another crucial example for why your members and businesses to keep their Google Business Profile up to date with rich attributes. So for example, if we don't know about an outdoor dining option a restaurant has, we can't suggest it to a user who's looking outside on a summer night. Or if they're a vegetarian restaurant or have a lot of vegetarian options, we want to make sure that we are connecting the right users to the right places. And we know time is a sacred commodity for these small businesses in your destination. So we're building AI tools to help make this ask for rich and complete content quite easier. Here's one example. In the Google Business Profile, a business owner can take help from AI to write their business description. Instead of leaving it blank due to writer's block, AI can suggest a description based on what we know about the place. They then have the choice to go through iterations or accept suggested language and edit directly. So some of these examples that you're seeing are kind of behind the scenes. So not all customer facing, but trying to use AI in a lot of different ways to help save time and also get the right information out there quickly. The last feature I will highlight that we are building in the world of AI and within their business profile is another fun and kind of time-saving one. It's hot off the press. We just announced this. So thanks to AI, restaurant owners can simply take a photo of their menu and we turn it into the structured menu. So this is early iterations, like I said, just launched, but we're adding more features to come, like multi-page and PDF menu support in the near future. So next time someone is searching olive oil cake near me and they're living in San Francisco, we know to recommend this restaurant because they have told us that they have olive oil cake. So this is really kind of like the crux of it all. We at Google are looking for all the best information so that we can then bring it to the right users. So like we've been talking about, businesses are at the core of destinations, like I've discussed, but we're also partnering with the DMOs directly on new tech features to highlight what there is to offer to locals and visitors alike. As destination marketers, kind of we all have the same goal in highlighting what makes a destination unique. And we recently announced at I/O again, Google's AR Core and Geospatial Creator. They announced this pilot program that we're doing in Paris and Singapore to bring select partners' AR experiences directly into Google Maps. So in partnership with the Singapore Tourism Board and its partners, we're excited to enable tourists to discover totally immersive content in over 25 popular places in Singapore. So let's check it out.
Every place has a story. Within every pin is more than a destination. A family business, a memorable experience, a deep history. Introducing a new canvas to tell more immersive global stories through Google Maps, powered by Google's AR Core and Geospatial Creator.
We are excited by the use of augmented reality, or AR, to complement and enhance the travelers' on-site experiences. I'm Wong Ming Fai, Chief Technology Officer at Singapore Tourism Board. And we see that AR can benefit travelers in that, one, it aids in the discovery of new places of interest, and two, it enriches travelers through deepening them with an understanding of Singapore's rich culture and history. I think technology can help to integrate and connect the pieces in the front-end experiences where visitors have to interact with attractions to add on new dimensions and make it more interesting. And so far, they've created more than 25 AR experiences across key tourism precincts in Singapore. And that's just the beginning. More will be in the pipeline. Our vision is to become the world's first AR city on Google Maps.
By partnering with the Singapore Tourism Board, businesses and developers are creating augmented reality experiences within Google Maps that are redefining how visitors explore and discover the city's countless wonders.
I think this is of great benefit to local tourism businesses, and we have so far onboarded more than a dozen local partners to join us on this journey.
I'm Anna Fong from Tung Heng. Tung Heng is a Cantonese pastry store. We have been in this Cantonese pastry business for the past 8 decades. Many of our customers actually grew up with us. When I was first asked if Tung Heng is keen to be part of this Google collaboration, within a split second, I did not even ask my family. I mean, this is a family business. I have to ask my senior, and I was like, yes, do it. Tung Heng has such a rich history, and we want to reach out to the younger audience. With this AR experience, we are more discoverable to them.
Gardens by the Bay is always keen to try something new. So when this opportunity came about, we were the first ones to jump on it, to basically push the boundaries and to try and see what else we can do to bring more people to enjoy the flowers. What I hope for people to remember is that, first of all, they'll be drawn in by the augmented reality, like, whoa, what's this? And when they leave with an even bigger wow.
These experiences go beyond in-person interactions. They can also be discovered through Google Street View, making them accessible to a remote audience of over 1 billion users on Google Maps. Explore, share, and connect with new destinations while strolling the streets or from the comfort of your home. Turn each pin into a new way to experience the world.
Well, fabulous. So all in all, there's a lot of exciting new features and experiences coming to life on Google. And so we're so excited for all that is to come. With that, I'll leave you with these 3 takeaways. Embrace what's right for you. With the world of ever evolving, lean into the technologies and experiences that work for your destination. The beauty will come out of everyone using these tools for their own creativity. Number 2, encourage your small, medium businesses to use Google Business Profile. As you've heard today, GBP is kind of the gateway of all these new experiences featuring businesses that make up your destination. We'll be sending out, actually, after this, a 2-page getting started guide that you are encouraged to send out to your members and businesses. And then lastly, continue to produce great content. Authentic yet authoritative content is a unique feature of DMO content that users really love. So continue to post visually enriching YouTube videos and content for the web. And that's it for me. Thanks again for your time and attention. There's a ton more features to come. Google wants to be your partner, making it easy to connect with customers. So thanks again for having me, and back to Chris, I think.
Thanks so much, Farah. Some really rich range of information there. And as Farah mentioned, we'll be sharing resources both from Google and also our next speaker, who's going to just briefly join us, C.A. Clark, heading our efforts around AI, and he's going to provide a few critical takeaways around lessons and insights from the work we're doing across 60 destinations, and also some resources that you can share, C.A.
Thanks, Chris. I will whip through this pretty quick here because I know that we want to get to questions. Let me just go. Oh, there we go. So I want to talk a little bit about a program that we are doing. At the end of last year, Miles joined Group Now in planning a global collaborative exploration of generative AI specifically for destinations. So you've heard a lot about that today, and it was a program that Group Now initiated that we wanted to put together for 2024 to really try to answer some of these questions, to explore the use of these technologies and what their implications are. Kind of the overall program goals were to drive AI literacy with the organizations, look at some case studies, look at what interesting things other people were doing in the space, and really try to understand on the other end of it how to leverage these tools in the future. We have about 60 destinations. There are 36 of them in Europe. There are 23 of them in the United States. So thank you to any of our participants who have joined us today. Really appreciate you being part of our exciting AI Opener program. We have been extremely busy doing stuff. We have at least one session every month. We usually have a couple sessions in between each of those. So there's quite a lot of stuff that is going on. We have a couple of, as Chris mentioned, we have a couple of things that have come out already. And throughout the rest of the year, we will be kind of producing some of our outputs that will be made publicly available about the program. So one of those is that for each one of the sessions that we do, we have a collection of tools that are specific to that. So there are a number of PDFs. Those will be part of the materials you can download from this webinar. And I'll tell you a link at the end of this if you want to go look at those. So these are specific to an area. Like one of them is, CBBs and events, and it'll be a series of tools that you can use for that. Another one of the things we talked a lot about, so another output, is the kind of organizational roadmap. What should you be doing? And so just very quickly, those are the first step of that is making sure that your team is using those tools. That means that you need to have the budget to do that. After that, you need to be setting guidelines for the individual and organizational usage. Those guidelines becomes policy. The policy becomes a strategy. And then, of course, the strategy drives the results for your organization on the other end of it. Two of our experts, Kara Franker and Roxanne Steinhoff, are two of our AI experts as part of that program. They have separately written a white paper and are continuing to work on that is about the legal implications of AI for destinations and for the travel industry. So that is also an available output and is a pretty interesting thing. So that you can get on our blog or will be part of the resources that come from this webinar. And lastly, I think the just some generalized advice that we have used in a couple other places about AI is using it not for final product, but for ideation. Make sure that you have a budget so that you can test those products, because you don't want to be trying to approve a $20 a month, expense all the time. You want to employ it when answers can be easily validated by domain experts. We recommend that you don't operate without a plan. So that's the guidelines and the policy. Definitely don't conceal your usage. That is a big no-no. So you want to make sure that you are communicating about where you are using it and what you're using it for. And don't expect correct answers every time. That's not really where we're at with AI answers at this point. So if you want to find out more about the program, that's AIOpenerForDestinations.com. You can go there. There's a couple of resources, including those cool tools PDFs that you can download, or they will be part of the distribution for this webinar. And at this point, we're looking at what our plans are for 2025. So if you want to find out more, you can go there and learn more about it. And I believe that's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, let me just share a couple of resources, but I think we've got a couple of minutes left, so I'll come back to each of you for a 20, 30 second or shorter sort of key insight. If you had to focus on one takeaway from today, like tomorrow, if I'm a destination organization or a tourism business, what should I focus on tomorrow from what we've heard today? And I'll come to each of you in a moment with that. So just a reminder, we've got our 2 quarterly special edition webinars powered by the State of the American Traveller, our Traveller Segments edition in September, and our much anticipated annual Stewardship and Sustainability edition in November. So you can register right there. Just also a quick call out, and I know, David, you're a critical part of this, along with Future Partners. We are working with SimpleView and Future Partners on the largest ever destination website conversion study. It's going to have an incredible range of insights as to how destination websites engage and drive actual visitation to destinations, what content, features, functionality is most critical. So time is running out if you wish to participate. We've worked really hard to have a special price there. So, Farah, do you want to end up with a final sort of key takeaway?
Sure. If I was to take away one thing, it'd be to encourage your members and businesses to keep their Google Business Profile up to date and totally filled out.
Very good. David, what would you emphasize?
This is actually something that Farah said, which is keep putting out authentic content and really good quality content, because all of the, conglomerates and AI scrapers and generators, which are currently churning out content that's already out there, it's a downward spiral if you're not actually putting amazing stuff on your website, in your marketing materials, in reviews. Don't stop putting out amazing information, because that's how all of this gets better over time. And it is absolutely not a sandwich. Thank you.
Thank you. And CA, what's your key takeaway?
Obviously, I'll do that from an AI perspective. I think my key takeaway for organizations and individuals that are on the call today is that you should be using these tools. I get it. In some cases, they don't necessarily do what you want them to do, but it's more important that you understand how they work so that you can integrate new and exciting features that will come out in the coming months. So that's my number one takeaway, is make sure that you and your team are using these tools so that you can figure out how to integrate them into your processes.
Okay, and with that, thank you so much, David, Farah, CA. Some really rich, useful information there. We'll be back in touch with everybody with the resources from today, and we look forward to seeing you all shortly. Have a great rest of your day.